Hello, America. July 25th, 2022. I just kind of want to give you I'm on a dirt road in Georgia, in the woods of Georgia, in case I'm wondering why I'm bouncing around and what that noise is in the back. This is where I live. This is where I live, in the woods of Georgia. I want to kind of just give you a real quick refresher course about shooters, mass shooters. I'm not trying to convince anybody that I'm some expert on these guys. I'm just an expert on violence and the mind of violence and how it works and how it pushes people and causes people to commit their livelihood, their resources, their loves, their lives, their money, their everything to it, and then just to either a dastardly act or an act of bravado that's going to involve violence, extreme violence, or just violence. That's the only thing I'm an expert at. You know, when an individual, when a white male, because Lord knows that's all it seems to be doing, white males from 16 on up to 63, millions of us fit that category. When a white male, I tell you this, that mass shooters is a journey, that act of extreme violence that leads up to the day of actual fruition, when the imagination becomes reality, and the thing that they've thought about for so long is put into forward motion and becomes real time, goes from imagination of the mind to real time act of violence, extreme violence, where people are killed. Sometimes it's a journey, and that journey sometimes can take a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, longer, shorter. It doesn't. What happens is that somewhere along in that individual's life, that man or that boy's life, he gets a taste, he gets the idea to kill. Just an idea to kill. And something comes along where he gets a taste for violence. Whether it's a physical manifestation in his life, bad parenting, someone touched him wrong, didn't get the promotion, lost a girlfriend, whatever it is. It's maybe not always just one thing. It might be an accumulation of a lot of things. And then they get this seed of violence. A seed of violence planted into their mind. Let me interrupt right here. You want to see how people in Georgia pass each other on dirt roads? Watch this. Did you see the one finger wave? That's how we wave, one finger. So they get an idea for violence, they get a taste of the violence, and then they get a seed of violence. A seed of violence carries all the blueprint of that will one day manifest an extreme act of violence. And I've taught this on my other channel, Why Shooters Kill, a lesson on violence on YouTube. And this seed of violence, they plant it into the soil of their mind, and then they nurture it along on this journey. And along this journey, they begin to see themselves in real time. They begin to see themselves able to do the dastardly, able to do the unimagined, able to do what these other shooters, they might have been a mild-mannered Clark Kent their entire lives, but all of a sudden they start getting the idea, and then they get the taste, and then they get the seed, and as they nurture this seed along, it begins to grow inside of them. As it grows to a point of harvest, a fruition, a point where they will harvest this act of extreme violence that's been brooding and growing in them for years, or a year, or months, or weeks, or however long. You don't just wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning and oil up your AR-15s, run down to the high school and kill a bunch of people. That is not how it works. Get this in our head. These are planned, methodical killers. And they're not even technically killers until they step across that threshold and begin to kill. They're only killing in their mind. They're only killing in their imagination. And what I want to emphasize right now with America is that there are many of these would-be shooters preparing to spring from cover. We are about to see an uncanny release of violence across the United States that will be unprecedented, like we have never, ever seen before. I hope I'm wrong, but I know I'm not going to be. I haven't been wrong. I've been more right than I've been wrong. Let me say it like that. You look at my history of my videos over the last 14 years, and the stuff I put out on violence, and the day I walked out of federal and state prison, and you will see I may not know a lot about baseball and football. I may not know much about soccer scores, but I know about violence and the mind of violence. You can watch any of my videos. I'm on familiar ground when I talk about people killing people, people doing the ungodly, the dastardly, the brave, the unimagined. Look at that beautiful sunset in Georgia. Big 10,000 foot tornado bound supercell thunderstorms. Anyway, there are a lot of men right now that are on a collision course with a dastardly act of extreme violence. Some of them are in the surveillance stage right now, running surveillance. Some of them are on the target picking. They have a list of about 11 to 19 targets. They're running surveillance on these targets, narrowing them down, scratching them off their list. Some of them have a time factor they're dealing with. Some of them are still accumulating the armor that they're going to wear, the clothes they're going to wear, the body armor, if there's any, the vest. Some of them are trying to accumulate the hardware they're going to use, AR-15s, assault rifles, handguns, whatever they're trying to accumulate. They're at different stages of this journey. But nevertheless, they are there. Many of them. And this is the tragedy and the sadness of it all. Some of them are already in the car. Yes, loaded up in the car, wearing the clothes they're going to wear when they make their exit from this planet, or their statement to the world, to the universe. Many of them are loaded up with the hardware and the guns and everything in the back seat, in the trunk, headed to their target. The only thing is, they get to that target and there's just not enough bravado to cross that threshold. They change their mind. They flip around and go back home. Take the suit off. Take the guns out of the trunk. Put them back in the hiding spot, in the lair, in the tool shed, under the bed, in a hole under the house, somewhere away from prying eyes. Then they go back into normal mode. And I'm terrified to say that there are some that are at that stage where they picked a target, have done all the surveillance on it and narrowed it down to this particular target. It's a school, it's a pizza joint, it's a football game. It's a place of little or no confrontation. There aren't many, if any, resource officers there, police there. And so they've narrowed it down. They picked a time and they've scratched those two targets. Those are the last two targets. I mean, the last two things on their list of a million things to do is the target selection and the time selection. Once those two are scratched out, it's a go for launch. The missile's launched. They leave the silo. Once they leave the silo, there's no calling them back. Rarely are they called back, except by him changing his mind. He gets there, he sees something that he doesn't like, something he's not comfortable with. You have to understand that school shooting is a leaning forward process. Once you commit, you're leaning forward. There's rarely are you straightening back up to think things out or to rethink things. You're leaning forward. You're going forward with it. Come what may, you're going forward with it. Somebody please watch one of these videos, which I hope will cause you to watch the rest of the videos, especially the videos about why shooters kill on my other channel, A Lesson on Violence. There's some good stuff on there. I compare school shooters to tornadoes, about the mix and the ingredients. You can have a lot of the ingredients, but if you don't have the right mix, it doesn't make a school shooter. You have a lot of people that have the psychosis of a murderer, a killer, lying in wait, a predator. They don't have the right mix with those ingredients, and it just doesn't. You know, you're dealing with a human mind. How intricate is it already? Anyway, that's enough for now. I'm already at 9 minutes on this video. I hope somebody's learning something. Please leave a kind comment, leave a mean comment. I don't care. I don't care if you subscribe. I don't care if you leave a like. I don't care. I have money. I don't need YouTube money. I'm not doing this for YouTube money. Please leave that. Anyway, that's enough for now. I'm at 10 minutes.